After the dust settled at Imola, Hamilton admitted that his title hopes for this year are over, having been off the pace all weekend in the W13, a car he described as not far off the worst he has driven in his 16 seasons in Formula One. There is still a long way to go in the season, but 2016 world champion Nico Rosberg believes Wolff's statement that he was shouldering the responsibility is a clever ploy to detect attention away from Hamilton's struggles, while teammate George Russell went on to take 12 points. Toto was playing the mental game, which is very smart on his behalf. Mercedes are taking the blame themselves, really trying to support Lewis mentally, lifting him up and saying, "Hey Lewis, it's not your doing, it's really on us." That's very smart, because it's not quite the truth. Let's not forget Russell is in P4 with that same car, so Lewis definitely had a big role to play in that poor result this weekend. Russell still managed to get P4 out of it with a brilliant weekend, so there was more in that car. Russell now has a 21-point lead over his new teammate after 4 races, having finished ahead of Hamilton 3 times in his early Mercedes career. The younger Briton gained 5 positions on the first lap at Imola, taking advantage of the clearer air to pass Kevin Magnussen and profit from Charles Leclerc's spin to finish 4th overall. Rosberg believes the Briton's performance at the Emilia-Romagna Grand Prix demonstrated that he too has what it takes to reach the pinnacle of Formula One. Russell has made a strong start to life as a full-time Mercedes driver, finishing no lower than 5th in the season's first 4 races. Russell has been consistently near the front for the first time in his 4 F1 seasons, having mostly struggled in an uncompetitive Williams from 2019 to 21. And according to Rosberg, he is fully justifying his promotion at the expense of Valtteri Bottas, who spent 5 years at Mercedes as Hamilton's teammate after the German retired after winning the World Championship in 2016. It was very risky to take George and replace Bottas with him, because George is such an unknown, but we can say now already it was a brilliant choice. George has been so mature and delivered the maximum points possible with this car. If there is a disadvantage for Russell, it's that Mercedes has fallen behind Ferrari and Red Bull this season after holding the Constructors' title for the previous 8 years. Nonetheless, while he may be in contention to challenge title favourites Charles Leclerc and Max Verstappen, Rosberg sees one major advantage for Russell's prospects: the chance to beat Hamilton. For George, it will be a big disappointment because he's going into the season thinking he would be able to race for wins, maybe even a championship, so this is a big setback for him. Nevertheless, he is still very young, and for him there is still the giant opportunity to beat, with the same car, the best of all time. It doesn't matter where they are in the end. That is so important for George, to be very close to Lewis, to beat him as much as possible, because it will really dictate how the rest of his career will go if Mercedes keep him on and things like that. We have to say, he did so brilliantly throughout the weekend at Imola, which was the first time this year he really dominated Lewis, and we're really overlooking that because of where they are. But we need to see he was like 4 tenths quicker than Lewis all weekend and ahead of him all weekend, which was really an awesome job by George, and the first time we really saw this potential World Championship level of driving from him. But George Russell's bombastic performances aren't Lewis Hamilton's only issue, as he and Toto Wolff were seen arguing in the garage over the weekend. While both Hamilton and Wolff downplayed the incident, claiming they were simply expressing mutual dissatisfaction with how qualifying went, Rosberg suspects there is more to it than they're admitting. It's definitely a very, very tough situation for Lewis. He's won a race in every single year of his career. It looks like this might be the year he can't win anymore. You can see how the tension is rising. We saw how Toto, in my view, was angry at Lewis after qualifying because maybe Lewis criticised the team a little bit too harshly over the team internal radio about something they did. The tension is rising, and that's natural, and Lewis will obviously start to show those emotions a little bit. Nevertheless, with the experience he has, I think he will eventually manage to keep those under control. Rosberg, who retired from Formula One after defeating Hamilton in the 2016 Drivers' Championship, admitted that he felt sorry for his former rival and teammate. It was tough to see Lewis in that state. He's really down, which is understandable. It is a long season, but they're nowhere with that car. They're not even going to be able to fight for race wins anytime soon, so it's difficult for Lewis to keep his motivation up. I think he will manage because he really is a fighter. And remember, there's always that thing that he still wants to beat his teammate. That's really, really important to him. With George performing so well, that could be the biggest motivator for Lewis to just keep going and keep fighting. Mercedes is struggling on the racetrack. Their performances against rivals Ferrari and Red Bull have been poor, implying that the Silver Arrows are likely out of the championship race. Meanwhile, questions have been raised about Toto Wolff's leadership. It's been questioned whether he is the right person to help Mercedes recover from such a setback. Nico Rosberg, on the other hand, has complete faith in his former boss. He claims Wolff is the right person to lead the team and that he will soon rescue them from their predicament. Of course, he sometimes has tantrums. We've all seen that, but nevertheless, in my opinion, he is the right man to lead such a team through such a difficult situation. Questioning Wolff is also a ridiculous thing to do right now. No major F1 team has been immune to bad luck, and firing someone who has won 8 championships seems illogical, especially after the first 4 races. When asked if he had considered cashing out his millions to retire to the Maldives during the current dark spell, Wolff himself made it clear how committed he was. The problem is that I'm dead in the Maldives without what I'm doing here. The activity in the team, developing the team, is what I really enjoy. Formula One is booming. On the revenue side, things are going very well, and this is what I actually want to do with my life. In that respect, the question hasn't arisen until now to say that's it. It would be like a project manager or an employee saying, I've done this now, I'll go out with the best record and that's it. But it doesn't stop with me, it's going on. With Mercedes facing its most difficult campaign in the turbo hybrid era, Wolff believes this season's results have been a valuable learning experience about the fact no one in F1 is invincible. For while the team has got its 2022 car wrong, he believes that the same engineers can turn things around and make rapid progress. When asked if he thought the team's personnel had lost their magic touch, Wolff replied, "My spontaneous answer would be that you can't unlearn it. But then the track teaches us something else. It's also about always staying humble, and that's where we are, and saying, shit, we really got it wrong. You have to accept that now. Where did we go wrong? In my time, we did 8 out of 8 strikes, and now we've really gone wrong. It's not like we're just 3/10 off. But in terms of our personality development and the values in our team, as bad as it feels, this is an important development. There is no one who is infallible. We're seeing that right now, but the team is capable of turning things around. Despite the pressure from the media and fans, the impression is that the team and drivers are intent on digging themselves out of the trenches and returning to every next race stronger and stronger. Only time will tell whether Mercedes will be able to recover. But if anyone can, it's them. What do you think of Nico Rosberg's assessment of the Mercedes situation? Is everything as bad as he claims? Will Mercedes be able to compete for victories in the near future? We'd love to hear from you in the comment section below. Thank you for watching. If you liked the video, please consider liking and subscribing to the channel, and don't forget to click the bell button to be notified of future videos.